I'm about to throw together a quick tutorial to teach you how to make a very simple glowing eye effect. The kind of thing that you might see on a Space Marine or something similar. So let's check it out. For this tutorial, I'm going to be using the following tools. I have some white scar layer paint, although any white paint would absolutely do. I've got the Citadel shade Cassandra yellow, although you can also use some inks. I've got another ink that I like using sometimes. This is a Dale Rowney green ink that I'll sometimes use. And in fact, or any other kind of shade, sort of like wash would be great too. And then you want a simple brush. This is a medium glaze brush. The reason I like it is because it has a short, stubby set of bristles, and that's the reason I like that one. I like making really cool glow effects on my models. I think it stands out and it has people say, wow, that miniature looks really good. And as you can see here, I've got the exact same ultramarine that I painted for our How to Paint an Ultramarine in 20 Minutes video. But if you go back to that video, you'll notice that I completely forgot to paint his eyes. And so I've made this video as a little add-on to show you how to do it. Also, I managed to cut my fingers open with a box cutter at home the other day when I was doing some modeling. Top tip, cut away from your fingers. So here we are, this is my white scar layer paint. And a lot of people, you know, they'll say thin your paints, and I'm not against thinning paints for certain applications, but I can confirm that when you're painting things like eyes, thin paint just tends to be harder to control. So what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna take the brush to the side of the model, and I've got a little bit of paint on it. I don't like overloading my paintbrush, so I'm gonna make sure I have just the exact amount I need. And the idea here is the paintbrush is about the same width as the eye. And so I'm just gonna line it up. I'm using as many points of contact between my fingers to touch, and then I'm gonna draw a straight line back across where the eye is. And essentially I'm just trying to fill in that eye socket with a little bit of white paint. There we go. And that is eye number one. And then, you know, I could be really anal about it and try and push it right into that corner. But actually what's cool about this effect is you don't have to do that. You know, there's like a little bit of a gap back there where I could go back a bit, which I decided to do. Oh, I love that I did that, right? That's a great mistake because I ended up touching his eyebrow, which is totally fine. I should have just left it, but it's good because it gives me a chance to show you guys how I fix things like that. So I'll fix that later. Now the other eye, I'm going to turn the model upside down. I'm going to do exactly the same thing. The reason I do it upside down is because, again, I want as much space but for my brush to move. If I put it on this way, my brush might hit the model, and so I find it's easier to come out from the outside. So turning the model upside down tends to be an easier way to hit it. And once again, just going to draw that thin line, go into the corners, and then boom, there we are. I've got my two white eyes, and you can see I went just a little bit up on his, I suppose on his eyebrow. So the way I clean it up is actually grab another tool, which is McCrag Blue. And all I'm gonna do, because it's a white obviously, is I'm gonna touch it up. And to me, that's one of the benefits of using a white paint first, because it makes it really easy to do any touch-ups. So all I'm gonna do here is just take that model and draw back in on the areas that I messed up and get the eye back to the way it was. There we are. So then I'm just gonna let that sit for a bit, and you're gonna see just how easy this glow effect is. Now we've allowed that to dry, we've got our lovely little white eyes. They look pretty good, but this is how we're gonna get the glow effect. And we're gonna use this Cassandra yellow, and we're literally just gonna cake it on. I know it sounds crazy, but we're gonna take just a little bit on the brush. I'm not even brushing it off here. And I actually kind of want it to go a bit crazy. You know, I want it to bleed out into the blue around it, because that is actually what gives the glowing effect. It almost works like a OSL, object source lighting, where the bleed out around it. So you really don't have to be neat. If I'm neat with the white, I don't have to be neat with this. And then you can see it's got that sort of nice glowing effect. It's almost coming out of green on the blue, which is exactly what light would do. If I had a yellow light and it was shining on blue, it would actually give me this sort of like glowing green effect. So it's even more realistic than you can imagine. It's a really simple, easy way to do it. And then if I want, I can allow it to dry, and I can sort of like, make it a bit thicker if I want to go another way. Another cool thing you can do, if you want to go a step further, is you can take a different color. So here I've got this Fugan orange, and you can add a second color to it while it's still wet. And the way we do that is, let's just say that I want, you know, the inside to be a little bit darker. I can take it and I can just touch, you can see this, touch the inside, and it will darken it a bit and give like a two-tone. There we are. So I can do the same here. So if you want to watch that just as it happens, just put the dot in, and then we get this cool two-tone yellowy orange, and they bleed into each other, and that gives like a really nice kind of effect there. So, you know, so you can play around with it. What's cool about that is because the yellow has started to dry, but not fully dried. It's like stained the white, and then the orange sort of, you know, goes around it. And I feel like that eye is a bit dark in the other one, so I can touch it a bit with my brush and pull it back. And there you are. Very easy glowing Space Marine eyes.